Let's bring in General Jack Keane. General Keane, he also told me, the Vice President, we're in the middle of the game. It's not over yet. Your thoughts about where we are?
Yeah, well, certainly. The Iranians obviously had some impact on our team and on the president recently for him to stand down from what was reported likely major combat operations. And something had to be different to get that turnaround. I think the negotiations are focused on two things. One is the Straits of Hormuz, and that's the primary focus now, and the other would be nuclear, and that would take on a later negotiations. But where we are, I think it began in earnest along the route the Vice President is suggesting. This is entry routes and exit routes that Oman and Iran were agreeing over, and I think we were probably largely supporting it. But once that gets passed, and by the way, in return for that, we would remove our naval blockade. Once that gets past the IRGC leadership and possibly even the Supreme Leader, then things began to change, according to sources. So what the Iranians are saying, entry-exit routes fine, but we also want tolls and fees. The administration obviously would have an objection for that. We also want sanctions removed again, and we want some of our frozen assets to be released. All of that prior to actual execution. And given the last time we actually had a signed deal between two presidents over the Straits of Hormuz, Kayleigh, and within days they violated that. So I'm confident the administration is not going to be able to come to an agreement based on some of these conditions. And listen, I think we all understand clearly, looking at the Iranians, even if they sign a deal, and the last time they had their president sign it, it is likely they will not fully comply with it. Maybe comply with it initially, but eventually they will not. Why is that? Because the Straits of Hormuz is a strategic asset that they believe they have ownership and control of, and it gives them influence in the region in a way that they've never had before February 28th. That is the reality of what we're facing in their mindset. And I think there are opportunities here to change the situation. Kayleigh, I think the primary objectives have changed from military priority, to diplomatic and political and economic. So is there a way to achieve both? I think so, because we can conduct a campaign. We've taken most of the Iranians' weapon systems down. Even the missiles and drones are down dramatically from where they were. We've been focusing on weapon systems and other targets. But we could very easily conduct massive strike on economic and energy, and we haven't focused on them. That was going to be a focus, but we could do that and do that in a minimum amount of time, a day or two, so it would not be disruptive to the political objectives, midterms, or the economic objectives, oil and gas prices. That's some pathways and options ahead that the president has in addition to the diplomatic effort.
General Keane, I have about a minute here, but I wanted to ask you about this. Now, I want to start by saying the White House said this is totally false. I certainly have been a victim of false stories in the administration. I know what the press does, but the Washington Post says it's a Camp David summit. Over the weekend, President Trump demanded answers from Secretary Hegseth about extreme munitions shortages. The White House categorically denies that. But I wanted your expertise on munitions, where they stand, and our stockpile.
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty much an open secret that we're challenged with offensive and defensive missiles. We went into the war knowing there'd be challenges associated with that, but in terms of our ability to execute, I know for a fact that what we're looking at right now as part of a military option going forward, knowing the Iranians, if we attack them in any consequential way, they would want to retaliate against our allies' oil and gas infrastructure. So we are helping Israel defend against Iranian drones and missiles quite effectively. And the CENTCOM commander is working that with our allies and partners in the region to protect their oil and gas infrastructure. And obviously he has resources that are available to do that. And secondly, we clearly have added capability in the region right now. We have brought it in, not just in the region, and we fly out of Europe. as well. But there's added capability to do the mission ahead of us militarily and what we had when the war began.
Yeah.
And that's the facts on the ground, and the Israelis are at full magazine depth. I think it has more to do not with inadequate capability to meet the challenges in front of us. It has more to do how fast can we replenish this stockpile that we are diminishing. And you can see the Deputy Secretary Feinberg and the urgency that he is moving the defense industry unparalleled that I've seen. I haven't seen anything quite like it since the Reagan administration.
Well,
I think that really is the issue, and I don't have any information on what took place at that meeting.
Well, thank you very much, General Jack Keane. Your expertise is so appreciated.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.